The first hole is a unique hole with 4 bunkers in the middle of the fairway, so the player has to negotiate their opening drive to miss the bunkers. After a good drive, the players will face a shot of 140 yards to a green that requires a well-struck shot to carry the bunkers that surround the green. The green has a ridge that runs from front to back and divides the putting surface into 2 distinct quadrants. The second hole is a beautiful par 4, my favorite. Requires an accurate drive to miss the bunker on the right and keep the ball out of the water on the left. A 160-yard second shot is a demanding play because it has a huge bunker fronting the green that angles away front to back from the player. The green has many different flag placements to keep the golfer's attention once on the putting surface. The third hole is 166 yards, but will play 5 yards longer than the actual yardage. This uphill par 3 is a medium iron for most players with a double-tier green that will challenge all golfers once they reach the putting surface. The par 5 fourth hole, our signature hole, is tree line that makes accuracy on the tee shot a premium. The second shot will be a layup to approximately 100 yards because the green is guarded by water in front and left side. The third shot will be a short iron play, so a great place for spectators to watch. The players will have to negotiate a putting green that has many subtle breaks in order to make their birdie. The fifth hole is a gentle dogleg to the right par 4 that with a good drive leaves a player with a 150-yard second shot. This should give the players a great chance to make a birdie. The large putting surface has many subtle undulations that will break in many different directions to confuse the best golfers. The par 5 sixth hole will let the golfer bomb their tee shot because of the generous hitting area. The longest hitters will have 220 yards into this green and should be able to reach the green in 2 shots. The green is guarded in front by a large bunker and on the left side with a pond that will come into play for an errant shot. Putting green has 3 distinct sections that will challenge the golfer and lend to great hole locations. Hole number 7 is a 204-yard par 3 that will require a long iron or hybrid. The player who favors a fade shot might have an advantage, since there is a water hazard right of the green. The green is an undulating surface with many challenging hole locations. A par will be a good score here. The par 4 8th is a tree-lined dogleg to the right that requires a fade off the tee shot with a demand for accuracy. Once the golfer finds the fairway, they will be faced with a 130-yard shot, and a birdie could be in the offing. The green has humps in the middle and back right that the players will have to negotiate in order to make a putt. The ninth hole is a long par 4, usually playing against a prevailing west wind. The golfer must stay focused on keeping the tee shot straight with upon catching players' drives that stray to the right. The second shot will require a club that travels 150 yards to a green that is protected by a huge bunker in front and another to the right of the surface. The green is one of Travis Point's largest, with a ridge running across the middle. On the 10th hole, a par 4, the player will be faced with a tee shot that has a bunker to the left of the fairway and out of bounds to the right. The slight uphill par 4 will play a half a club longer and keeps the golfers thinking with their second shot club selection. The green is well guarded with 4 bunkers and is an undulating surface. There is a ridge running from front to back, making a right and left quadrant on the green. Par 4 11th is a narrow hole with OB left and right on the tee shot, with the player possibly choosing some other club than a driver. The player will be faced with a short iron, but the green is well bunkered and requires an accurate shot. The green has gentle undulation from back to front, giving the player a definite birdie chance. The 12th hole is a 184-yard par 3. And the player needs to fully carry a medium iron because of the huge bunker fronting the green. The putting surface looks benign with hidden speeds in many putts. This hole might see a hole-in-one during tournament week and may become a fan favorite to spectate. The par 4 13th hole plays slightly downhill and has 2 ponds the player has to negotiate with a fairway wood the club of choice for a long hitter. The uphill second shot will be played with a short iron, but always plays longer than it looks. The green is the most challenging at Travis Point, with a mound built right in the middle and putts running off in all different directions. The 14th hole, a par 5, will have the long hitters attacking with many reaching the green in 2 shots. The shorter hitter must negotiate around a big pond left of the fairway that comes into play on their second shot. The players will all have short irons or chips into a green for their third shot. The green is well bunkered and will catch many of the players' shots who try to reach the green in 2. The green has 3 different sections to it and will demand accuracy from the player to hit their shots close. The 15th hole, a par 4 is a dogleg left and can play short if the player's drive can reach a ledge in the fairway that feeds the ball down a hill and closer to the green. The player will have a testy downhill 100-yard shot for their second shot. The severe two-tiered green has many wonderful hole locations that will test any golfer. A 3-putt is a possibility if the player leaves their ball on the wrong tier. The 16th hole will play 180 yards. The downhill shot requires a carry to the green unless a golfer can thread a shot between two bunkers. Most of the players will be using hybrids or long irons, with shorter hitters using a fairway wood. The putting surface has 3 different levels that make this par 3 one of the best. This will be a gallery favorite to watch great golf, eat good food, and maybe partake in some libations. The 17th hole is a long par 4 that is usually playing into a westerly wind and will test the golfer because they are facing the most intimidating tee shot at Travis Point. The hole is framed with a creek that runs down the right side of the fairway and OB on the left. The 180-yard second shot will be played with a hybrid or long iron, with a player picking up a shot on the field with a birdie here. The green has very subtle breaks with a back left tier for a championship flag placement. The par 5 18th hole is a beautiful finishing hole that requires a tee shot down the left side of the fairway. This might allow the longest players to reach the green in 2 shots. The hole has a stream down the right side that turns into a pond next to the green. The player that doesn't go for the green in 2 will lay up to 110 yards on their second shot. The third shot will be tricky to get close because of a bunker that fronts the green and a back tier that is hard to stop the ball on. The player can end their round with a birdie or even an eagle if they can negotiate the trouble along the way.